My cousin Bianca asked me to be a bridesmaid, had me plan and fund her extravagant bachelorette getaway, and then coldly uninvited me from her wedding the moment she found out I was expecting. To understand the depth of this betrayal, you need to understand the background. My husband, Nathan, and I have been together for 7 years, married for 4. His family is large and generally warm, but his younger sister, Bianca, who is 24, always existed on the periphery of my life. For years, our relationship was cordial but distant, exchanging pleasantries at family holidays, liking each other's social media posts, but never making an effort to connect on a deeper level. She was always wrapped up in her own world of friends, career ambitions, and a revolving door of boyfriends. I never took it personally. We simply weren't close. That's why her phone call last November was such a shock. She was breathless with excitement, announcing her engagement to her boyfriend of 18 months, Derek. After the initial congratulations, she paused and said, "And I really want you to be one of my bridesmaids." I was silent for a beat too long. "Me? Really? I know we haven't been as close as we could be," she said, her voice taking on a sincere, pleading tone I'd never heard before. "And that's my fault. I've been so caught up in my own stuff. But your family, and I want this to be a new start for us. I want my wedding to bring us together. Please say you'll stand up with me." I was skeptical. The invitation fell out of the blue, almost transactional, but the earnestness in her voice, the promise of forging a genuine sisterly bond, appealed to me. After a few more minutes of her convincing pleas, I agreed. I hung up the phone, feeling a flutter of excitement. Maybe this was a turning point. Over the next several months, Bianca pulled me into her world. She added me to a constant, buzzing group chat with her 5 other bridesmaids, her best friend since childhood, Priya, her college roommate, Gina, 2 friends from work, Jessica and Maya, and another cousin, Rachel. We discussed dresses, color schemes, floral arrangements, and catering tastings. Bianca texted me privately for opinions, sent me selfies from dress fittings, and called to vent about the stresses of planning. I felt included, valued. I started to believe the narrative she'd sold me, that this was about building a relationship. Then came the big request. We were having coffee about 3 months before the wedding, and Bianca leaned forward, her hands wrapped around her mug. "So, the bachelorette trip," she began. "I've always dreamed of a long weekend in Tuscany. You know, vineyards, villas, pasta-making classes, the whole fantasy." "It sounds amazing," I said genuinely. "Here's the thing," she continued, looking at me with wide, hopeful eyes. "I know you and your dad run that import-export business, and you handle all the European logistics and connections. I was hoping, could you possibly use your contact to organize it? You know the best places, the best prices. It would be such a weight off my mind. My father and I do run a successful business specializing in European gourmet foods and wines. We have an extensive network of partners, hoteliers, and tour operators across Italy. Organizing a trip like this wouldn't be impossible, but it would be a significant undertaking. Bianca, that's a huge project. I'd have to make a lot of calls, arrange transport, accommodations, activities." I know, she interrupted, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. "And I would be forever grateful. It would mean the absolute world to me. And," she dropped her voice to a conspiratorial whisper, "if you could maybe front the costs, just temporarily. Our policy at work is such a nightmare, with advance payments for vacation, and all the wedding deposits have just cleaned me out. I promise, I will pay you back every single cent right after the wedding. I'll even have you organize our honeymoon. More business for you." The red flags were waving violently. Front the costs for a week-long Tuscan villa holiday for 7 women? It was an enormous ask. Yet, there I was, caught in the web of our newfound closeness. She was family, She was promising to pay me back. She looked so vulnerable and trusting. "Let me talk to my dad," I said cautiously, "see what we can work out." To my surprise, my father, a soft touch where family is concerned, agreed. "She's Nathan's sister," he said. "We can float it. Just get everything in writing. A simple payment agreement for her after the wedding." I presented this to Bianca, who balked at the formality but eventually agreed, signing a basic promissory note. The next 2 months were a whirlwind. I became a part-time travel agent. I sourced a stunning villa outside Siena, arranged private vineyard tours and tastings, booked a Michelin-starred chef for a private dinner at the villa and coordinated flights, and a luxury van for transport. The cost was astronomical, but I kept meticulous records, and Bianca's signed note gave me a sense of security. The trip itself, in early May, was surreal. The setting was idyllic. The other bridesmaids were wonderful, and we bonded quickly. Bianca, however, showed a side I hadn't seen before. She was demanding with the villa staff, snapping at a maid over a minor towel issue. She was short with Priya when she was late coming down for breakfast, rolling her eyes dramatically. She complained about the temperature of the pool and the brand of Prosecco provided, despite both being exquisite. Yet with me, she was all sunshine and gratitude. "This is perfect. You're a miracle worker," she gushed, linking her arm with mine. In hindsight, I was clearly being buttered up because I was the one holding the purse strings. We returned home, tanned and tired. I submitted the final invoice to Bianca, reminding her of the post-wedding payment plan. She gave me a hug. "Don't worry about a thing. You've been an angel." A week later, the morning sickness hit me like a freight train. It was brutal and unexpected. Nathan, ever the worrier, rushed me to the doctor, convinced I had picked up a parasite in Italy. The news we received was life-changing, not life-threatening. I was 7 weeks pregnant. The shock was immediately swallowed by a wave of pure, unadulterated joy. We were going to be parents. We decided to tell our immediate families right away. We video called Nathan's parents, who cried happy tears. We called my dad, who whooped with delight. Then we called Bianca. Her reaction was flat. "Oh, pregnant. Wow." A long pause. "Congratulations, I guess." Her voice lacked any warmth. She sounded almost annoyed. "Is everything okay?" Nathan asked, picking up on the weird vibe. "Yeah, fine. Just surprised. That's big news." "Okay, well, I gotta go. Final dress fitting. Bye." She hung up abruptly. Nathan and I exchanged a look. "Wedding stress," he concluded. "She's probably just overwhelmed." I wanted to believe that. But the next day, a text arrived from Bianca. It was cold and formal. "After careful consideration, I think it's best if you don't attend the wedding next month. Given the circumstances, I believe it will be simpler for everyone. I hope you understand and don't take offense." I stared at my phone, the words blurring. I read it 5 times. Circumstances? What circumstances? My pregnancy? That was the only new variable. I called her immediately. It went straight to voicemail. I texted, "Bianca, what is this about? What circumstances? Please call me." Silence. Nathan tried calling his sister. Silence. He called his parents, who were baffled, but said Bianca wasn't answering their calls either about this. A cold dread settled in my stomach. This wasn't stress. This was deliberate. For 3 days we were ghosted. Then, on the 4th day, as I was stewing in a toxic mix of hurt and anger, my phone rang. It was Bianca. "You need to stop blowing up my phone," she snapped before I could even say hello. "I just want to know why, Bianca," I exclaimed, my voice trembling. "After everything these last few months? After Tuscany? What did I do?" She let out an exasperated sigh. as if I were a dull child. You got pregnant right before my wedding. It's pretty obvious. I am not having a pregnant woman, especially my sister-in-law, at my wedding trying to steal my spotlight. I don't need the sympathy or the attention shifting to your condition. It's my day. I thought you'd have the tact to figure that out yourself. The sheer, unvarnished pettiness of it stole my breath. You think I'm going to steal your spotlight? Bianca, I'm 7 weeks along. I'm not showing. We weren't planning to tell anyone. How could I possibly steal anything? It doesn't matter, she hissed. Just your presence. Knowing what you're harboring, it's a risk. I'm not taking it. Enjoy your pregnancy. Goodbye. The line went dead. I sat there, numb. Then the hurt crystallized into a sharp, painful understanding. I had been used. The friendship, the bonding, the bridesmaid offer. It was all a long con to secure a free, lavishly organized bachelorette trip. The moment the trip was over and her signature was on the payment plan, which she probably never intended to honor promptly, I was expendable. My pregnancy just gave her a flimsy, cruel excuse to cut me loose. Nathan was livid when I told him. He sent her a blistering text. Your behavior toward my wife is disgusting and shameful. I will not be attending your wedding. Furthermore, you will pay back every penny you owe her for Tuscany. Immediately. Your spotlight isn't worth her kindness. Her reply was swift and telling. You're both being hysterical and selfish. My wedding is about me. I have a right to the perfect day, without distractions. She's a distraction, and bringing up the money now is so tacky. Family helps family. Nathan called her, and their argument was epic. He came back to the living room, his face pale with rage. She's unbelievable. She actually said, what if she has morning sickness at the altar? Or someone guesses. She's living in a soap opera. I'm done. We're not going. The fallout was swift and spectacular. Clearly stung by our withdrawal and her brother's condemnation, Bianca did the unthinkable. She went to her bridesmaid group chat to rally troops. She must have told them everything, painting herself as the victim of my insensitive timing. But it backfired. Spectacularly. I was abruptly removed from the group chat. Within an hour, my phone started buzzing with private messages. Not from Bianca, but from Priya, Gina, Jessica, and Maya. Hey, just saw what happened. I'm so sorry. What Bianca is doing is insane. I can't believe she uninvited you for being pregnant. That's next level bridezilla. We're on your side. This is wrong. She told us all about your pregnancy in the group chat. I told her she had no right to share your private news. She lost it at me. My heart pounded with a fresh wave of anger. She'd share my pregnancy, my private, early, delicate news, with her entire bridal party without my consent. I immediately called Nathan's cousin, Rachel, who was also in the chat. Rachel, please, you can't tell anyone else. We're not ready to share this widely yet. Rachel sounded contrite. I'm so sorry. She just dropped in a voice note, ranting. I already told my mom, but I'll make sure she keeps it quiet. This is so messed up, Cara. I'm really sorry. The betrayal was now multi-layered. The financial use, the emotional manipulation, the cruel dismissal, and now the violation of my privacy. Any lingering guilt I had about not attending evaporated. Then the dominoes began to fall. Priya called me. We've all had enough. She's been a monster for months. Yelling about trivial things, demanding thousands of dollars for extra dress alterations she decided on last minute, expecting us to be at her beck and call 24/7. This thing with you was the final straw. We told her she needed to apologize and re-invite you, or we were out. She told us we were disloyal and that she didn't need fair-weather friends. So we're out, all of us. My in-laws, seeing the wedding imploding, called me. Their voices were heavy with distress. Kara, she's a wreck. She's sorry, she really is. The wedding is in 10 days. Her bridal party is gone. Nathan won't come. Please, for the sake of family peace, can you find it in your heart to forgive her and come? We'll make sure she apologizes properly. I felt a pang for them. They were good people in an impossible situation. But the image of Bianca screaming at a hotel maid, the memory of her cold text, the sound of her calling my baby a distraction, it all hardened my resolve. I'm so sorry. I told them, my voice firm but gentle. I can't. What she did wasn't a minor mistake. It was a calculated series of hurtful actions. I will not attend. I will encourage Nathan to go, but I cannot and will not force him. Nathan refused point blank. If my wife isn't welcome, I'm not there. Period. I tried messaging the other bridesmaids. Please, don't boycott the wedding on my account. This is between me and Bianca. You should be there for her. Their responses were variations on a theme. It's not just you. This was the last straw. We're done. With a week to go, the wedding was in tatters. Bianca, backed into a corner, sent me a flurry of text that swung wildly between pleading and passive-aggressive guilt-tripping. Finally, she called. You win, okay? I'm sorry. Please come. Bring Nathan. I need my bridesmaids. I need my brother. Her apology was hollow, dripping with resentment. It was an apology born of desperation, not remorse. Bianca, it's too late. I don't accept your apology. I won't be there. And you still owe me $8,700 for Tuscany. She exploded. You're ruining my life. You're just a jealous, attention-seeking bitch who got knocked up to sabotage me. I knew you were trouble. That was it. Any residual sympathy vanished. No, Bianca, I said, my voice icy calm. You ruined this yourself. You used me for a free trip, discarded me when you thought I was no longer useful, and betrayed my trust at every turn. You are a selfish, ungrateful person, and you are facing the consequences of your own actions. The only thing I want from you now is my money. I hung up. Nathan held me as I shook, not from sadness, but from righteous fury. 2 days before the wedding, I received an unexpected call. It was Priya, the maid of honor. Kara, I need to tell you something. I'm still going to be at the wedding tomorrow. I made a commitment, and I'll see it through. But after this, I'm done with Bianca, and I need you to know you were right. Months ago, when she first got engaged, she told me her plan. She said, Kara and her dad have that business with all the European connections. If I get her on my side, she can organize the bachelorette and float the cost. It'll be perfect. She targeted you from the start. I'm so sorry I didn't say anything sooner. I kept hoping the friendship part would become real. Hearing it confirmed was a dull blow. Thank you for telling me, Priya. I appreciate your honesty. She doesn't know I'm calling you. Please don't tell her. And good luck with everything. Congratulations on the baby, truly. The wedding day arrived. Nathan and I spent a quiet day together, far from the chaos. We heard bits and pieces through the family grapevine. Only Priya and cousin Rachel stood up as bridesmaids. The others had followed through on their boycott. Nathan's parents looked strained and sad in the few photos that trickled online. The event seemed small and joyless. A week later, a bank transfer notification appeared on my phone. The full $8,700. No note, no message. Just the money. It was over. The final update came from Nathan's mother a month later, during a strained but polite lunch. She told us, her eyes sad, that Bianca and Derek had left for their honeymoon, organized through a different agency, of course. She also mentioned that Priya had indeed distanced herself, and Bianca was feeling isolated and angry, blaming everyone but herself. Nathan and I listened, But our focus had irrevocably shifted. We had our first ultrasound, saw the tiny, flickering heartbeat, and began planning for our future. The hurt Bianca caused still smarts. The betrayal of trust, the cruelty, the violation. But it is now a closed chapter, a painful lesson learned about the price of naivety and the true colors of some people. We have drawn a firm boundary. Bianca is no longer part of our lives. We will be civil at large, unavoidable family functions. But the relationship is dead, buried under the ruins of her wedding plans. My energy, my love, my excitement are now reserved for my growing family, for the supportive friends who stood by me, and for the genuine relationships that enrich my life, not exploit it.